What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Alright, so as I'm sure you've gathered by the thumbnail, I've bought an investment property. Boom, son! Alright, in my favorite shoes. It's all in the Crocs. It's all in the Crocs. Anyway, it's been a long time coming. We've been working on this I've been working on this for a couple of weeks now. There's been a lot of admin behind the scenes because I haven't structured it in the traditional way. But I'll get to that at the end of the vlog. Right now, I'm going to take you through to the property and show you what it looks like. But yeah, I'll see you over there. This is like the first kind of POV vlog attempt. So bear with me. It's gonna, wobble, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you got to start somewhere. I mean, this is a skill set on its own. So yeah, here we are on our way to the apartment. You see this view that we've got, Table Mountain. Nothing compares. All this property is really is it's just solely for investment. Not looking to move into it at all. So yeah, just got to create that and start creating that passive income stream. Diversification, very important part of investing. So yeah, this is the one aspect of the portfolio, just being property. And then obviously we'll extend and we'll build onto that as we go. Top floor apartment. The mountain views to the back. See, it's all about creating passive streams of income. See? Work smart, not hard. Right, so at the beginning of this video, I said to you that I haven't purchased the property the traditional way. Traditional way as in under my personal name, under my personal capacity. Now there are reasons I haven't done that, which we'll get into now, but before we do that, just know that this is not financial advice in any way or form. This is just me, your average individual, running his mouth and sharing his thought process and why I've done what I've done and structured it the way I've structured it. So let's get into it. Yeah, so I formed the trust, I own the trust, and I have purchased the property through the trust. So at this point in time, it is a property holding trust, and that's it. I'm not going to sit here and give you a grade 10 business studies lesson on, trusts. But if you want to know why it is a separate legal entity, and you can go and do some research. But I personally feel that there is a lot more, there's more upside to holding assets in a trust as there is to holding your assets in your personal name as a self-employed individual or entrepreneur. So that's just my take on it, right? Now, let's get into the financial side of things. Let's talk a bit about, the finance and why I've done what I've done. So just a bit of a backstory here in South Africa. Well, I'm sure it's the same all around the world. But now we're not talking about me as an individual. We're talking about a company, right? Now, as a newly formed or as a new company, it's very difficult to get your hands on financing or debt, okay? Which is understandable. It's pretty standard. The banks just deem it as riskier debt, okay? And, banks don't want to take those types of risks. So the banks require a substantial amount of financial record. Now, not financial record as in, what comes in every month and what goes out. I'm saying business financial statements or company financial statements over 3, 4, 5 years. So they're looking for multiple sets of financial statements, okay? So if you haven't been, or if you don't have multiple sets of financial statements, it's difficult to qualify for that debt or to get that debt and financing. Okay, so that's just a bit of a backstory. Now, that brings me to the point I'm about to make, or the point we're about to discuss, and why I've bought the property the way I've bought it. So the property has, I'm not going to sugarcoat figures, I'll be transparent. The property has a cash price of 1.6 million, of which I've bonded 1.1 million, and I've put down a cash deposit of 500,000. Okay, so now going back to the thing of it's difficult to get debt and financing for a new company, I've now created my own debt and I've now created leverage. So what do I mean by that? Well, I've now got a bond of 1.1 million. Okay, so what I've done is I've opened that door. I've opened and taken advantage of that opportunity. So I've now technically bought I've settled the bond of 1.1 million. So technically I've bought this property cash. Okay, it is an access bond, so I have access to it. I've bought the property cash, 1.6 million, boom, into the property, sorted, done and dusted. But now I've got leverage. I can go and take and access that bond of 1.1 million, the bond I qualified for, or that I applied for. I can take that 1.1 million and I can purchase another property with that. Okay, and that 1.1 million will obviously have a monthly bond repayment, of which the tenants will cover. So I've now leveraged the current property to buy another property that the tenants will pay for. So that's why I've structured it the way I've structured it. Bond it to open up that leverage. Now that's how you work with property. That's how you build your property investment portfolio. Now let's talk about figures and just as to why property, why real estate. Well, number one, it's a passive stream of income, right? You don't have to lift a finger to generate a monthly income. So let's talk figures. Let's work with a calculator here. Now, for instance, take that 1.6 million and put it in the bank. Okay, that 1.6 million in the bank is going to give you, I think the banks are what, let's round it to 4% interest per annum, right? So that is generating 64,000 Rand of interest income every year. Divide that by 12, you're generating 5,300 Rand interest income every month on 1.6 mil. Okay, now that's all that money is doing for you in the bank. Let's take that same 1.6 mil and let's put it into a property. And now we'll talk figures there. So this specific property has a monthly rental income of 10,000 Rand. Right, so 10,000 Rand less, let's call it the agent's fee. I think it's what, 5%. So call that 500 Rand less the rates or the levies being, I think it's 1,000 Rand. So 10 grand less the 1.5, which takes you to 8,500 rental income. Okay, so that is already beating the 5,300 that you got from interest income. That's not even looking at the appreciation factor. Now, property appreciates every year, right? I'm not in the real estate game, so I'm not too sure what the figures are, but let's work on an average Through research articles, I've seen that it can range from anywhere from 6 to 10%. So let's work on 8%. So that 1.6 million grows at 8% for the first year, which then gives you an appreciation of 128,000 Rand in value. Divide that, if you really want to compare it, apples with apples with the interest income on a monthly basis, that appreciation factor of 128,000 then gives you a monthly appreciation figure of, call it 10,600. Plus the 8,500 Rand that you're getting from your rental income comes to 19,100. So let's say 19,000 per month. Although you don't realize the appreciation factor, it still sits there, right? So that 19,000 opposed to the 5,300 that you're getting from the interest income every month, it's a no-brainer. And that is why property makes so much sense. Property or property portfolio cannot go wrong.